trust me, most of the coaches, are giving you great information. They are
Yep.
giving you the
I
right
agree with that.
process. They are giving you the right strategy. They're giving what does work. The challenge we have as educators is whether the people are willing to use that information, right? Whether they're using the education they've paid for. So I've flipped it. I said I was tired of getting rich off of people, and I wanted to get rich with people.
Hi, I'm Tim Bratz, and every week I sit down with the top influential entrepreneurs in the country to discuss how to leave a true legacy in all things happiness, health, wealth, and wisdom. This is the Legacy Podcast.
What's up, y'all? Tim Bratz here. Welcome to the Legacy Podcast. Today, I got my buddy Justin Colby on. Justin has been in the real estate industry at a high level for a long time. So he's been in for about 18 years now. He has the Science of Flipping podcast, which is consistently in the top 3 real estate podcasts. Kind of moves up and down from 1 to 2 to 3, back to 1. And he's doing some amazing things and making big impact in a lot of people's lives. Justin's done thousands of real estate transactions and has also helped thousands of students get into their first deal and scale their wholesaling business and their flipping business. So, Justin, appreciate you being here, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. And it's always a little unique hearing kind of your resume as it gets introduced, right? And so thank you for that. I appreciate you. And it's an honor to be able to make an impact on your world. And I've always loved everything with Legacy and everything that you're doing at Legacy, and blessed to be a part of that community as well. So, dude, I'm excited about this.
Appreciate you, brother. And you say that, and it's pretty wild, right? Like, you think back to 18 years ago and you're like, would I ever have the top podcast? Would I ever transact thousands of doors? Would I ever, influence and help thousands of people? And along the way, it doesn't seem that substantial. And then all of a sudden, man, you get to the top of the mountain or along the mountain and you look back and you're like, wow, it's like majestic views. It's pretty amazing. And I think it's important to kind of look back once in a while and realize what each of us has done, not you and me, but like everybody who's watching this podcast. And none of us are as far as long as we all want to be. And we've got these big ambitions and everybody's always looking forward. But I think it's absolutely critical for just good mental health and mental wellness and appreciation for all the amazing blessings that we do have, is to look back once in a while and realize what we've been able to do.
Yeah, I think you said it best right there, is we're always evolving and we're always pushing, right? Like, you've done an amazing job building out a true career, a business, with all the doors that you have and what's gone on, but we're never really done, right? Like, to some extent, something's kind of wrong with us, right? Because, like, when's enough enough? And my answer is, I actually don't know until I really genuinely feel it, like, inside. Because not as many doors, the ego used to talk to me as I need to have so many doors and have this much, balance sheet, net worth. And now I'm kind of just like, I'll just know when enough is enough, right?
Yeah.
And I'll just feel it inside. God will say, dude, go relax, go enjoy the thing, whatever. So, coming from a place of you and I have talked about this personally recently, is like minimizing the ego and just realizing, like, go create an awesome fucking life at the best you possibly can and run as fast as you possibly can and create the life, right? And then when you're ready to slow down and maybe do a faster walk, then do that, right? But there's never the same. You brought up looking back 18 years ago. Dude, 18 years ago, I wanted to get off a couch, right? Like, I was so broke. I was sleeping on my buddy's couch. The repo man just took my car. I lost my first home to foreclosure. Like, I was destitute mentally, psychologically, spiritually, but also financially. And so 18 years ago, I never thought I'd have a #1 rated podcast. I never thought I would have had made this much impact on so many people. I never thought I would have done thousands of Never. I was like, how do I upgrade my food from top ramen to like hot dogs? Like, that was the only thing going through my head when I was in that place. And I encourage anyone watching this and listening to this, like, wherever you're at in life, I don't care if you're already making a whole lot of money, there's always another level, or you should really audit what you're truly wanting in life. When you're sleeping on a couch and you can't afford your own food and your buddy has to buy you breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, my thought is I need to go eat better. But you already might be at a place making a ton of money. Maybe you have a W-2 job. Maybe you're, Tim Bratz #2 and you have thousands of doors, but you're not quite yet done. Like, audit where you're at and figure out where you want to go, because all you have to do is give yourself enough runway. That's it. Give yourself enough runway and do it. Do the thing, I like to say, and you can get there.
Dude, I love the runway thought of long-term mentality. I think you always make better decisions when you're looking at the long term as opposed to your short-term circumstances. You
Yeah.
know, we do crazy things, do dumb things, say dumb things, act in dumb ways based on short-term. I mean, you see it with people who are stressed, people who are angry, people like they say the things that they don't really mean in the heat of the moment kind of a thing. And I
That's
think
right.
business decisions can a lot of times be made in the stress of how am I paying payroll this month? How am I going to get these investors taken care of? Like, you know, the management company just burned me or this contractor just burned me. And you make bad long-term decisions based on short-term circumstances. And dude, it's hard. It's like a muscle you got to exercise. And we all go through it at different levels at different times. But it's like, dude, just trying to stay level-headed and realizing that business and life, dude, is a cyclical event. It's not
Yeah.
always up and to the right. It's a cyclical event that goes up and down and up and down. And if you're on top, dude, you better look back and realize how good you have it because you are on top. And if you're on the bottom, you got to also realize you're not at the bottom forever, man. Like just having the long-term mentality, like any roller coaster, right? Especially emotional roller coasters. The way that you don't fly off of a roller coaster is you put the bar down over yourself. So that way you don't fly off the roller coaster.
Yeah.
In the emotional roller coaster, bring the bar down, right? Like set a lower, and not in a negative way or anything, but set a lower expectation and just have that long-term vision is really how you bring the bar down is don't get too high on the high days. Don't get too low on the low days. Realize it's a long-term play. And if you stay consistent over time, everything shakes out the way that you want it to.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people, and you and I have been educating for a long time and made a lot of impact on people. So I know you're going to resonate with this, but like a lot of people say what they want, but they're not going to really go out and do it. And that's the challenge in our space as educators, leaders, thought leaders, right? Is to say all of you watching this and listening to this can do what Tim does. All of you. You can do what I do. Every last person. But you got to have to want it enough to go have the runway, to be able to put forth the effort, work, energy, sacrifice to go build that. Because Tim brought up, some days you're on top of the mountain, then some days you're not. There's no champion that has been the champion for life, right? There's no Super Bowl champion that has repeated the Super Bowl 10, 15 years in a row. It doesn't exist that way. You're not on top of that mountain forever. And there's days that you're going to get knocked off the top of the mountain. But that is where the fortitude, that is where the grit comes in to say, I'm going to keep going. I got to mend my wounds from the little fall I just had, and you got to keep going. And it doesn't matter who you are, what level you're at, Tim, myself, others. There's days that you're like, damn, we're in a dogfight today, right? And then there's days that you're like, bro, this is sweet. I'm loving it.
How do you get out of the dogfights? Like when you're, that's the hardest part is like when you're in the dogfight and you're just, dude, taking arrows from every direction. What has worked for you in making sure that you're just kind of moving forward?
Easiest
right?
answer. This is the best question with the easiest answer. My connections. Being a part of Legacy, being a part of masterminds, knowing Tim personally to call Tim, knowing I have another great friend, Tim, who's very successful, calling that Tim. Funny, Tims are in my life. And just having the people that I can rely on that have been there before, that have done the thing, that have fallen down before, that will genuinely be there to pick me up as I fell and not have any ulterior motive. And to be able to say, dude, dust yourself the fuck off and let's keep going, dude. I've been there, done that. This happened to me. I have one of my closest friends in the whole world, the guy that married me. And I'll leave his name out, just whatever. But, going through a really tough time in the recent past. This isn't like I did it 10 years ago, went through it like in the recent past, dealing with some, terrible contractor shit and dealing with some dumb stuff that unfortunately I have to deal with. And I called him and he's like, he kind of giggled at me, right? He's like, bro, dude, I've done this 3 times. I've had to go through this roller coaster 3 other times. You got it. It's not going to be fun. You're not going to love it, but you got it. You just keep your head down, push forward. Everything's going to be fine. And just having someone to say, I've done this before. I've been in your seat. I have literally fallen from the top of the mountaintop 3 other times. in this very similar scenario. And now I would argue he's one of the more financially successful people I'm aware of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he just built a $16 million home. Like this, like he's there. And so for him to be able to say, "Bro, been here, done it. You got it." Right? Stay in the game. Your connections, your associations, and people you can genuinely go to and be authentic, vulnerable, open, without judgment. Like I can call Tim, I can call you any day and
Mm-hmm.
say, "Fuck, dude, this scenario, this is awful. I done da 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 da," and you're gonna pour into me. And I've had these conversations with you, right? Like where I called you, I'm like, "Tim, holy criminy," right? And you say, "Gotcha. Let's jump on a Zoom." Right? But you have to earn those relationships, right? So for those of you watching this and listening to this, I'm assuming you've been following Tim a while. You better get into legacy fast. Like if you're not already in, get your ass in. Not just for Tim, but I know a lot of the people in that community that will pour directly into everyone else. And if you aren't always trying to level yourself up, right? I made a quote yesterday or today, even I think I posted it. Your success can never outpace your level of self-development.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that again. Your success can never outpace your level of self-development. It's impossible. And if, again, because I believe in legacy so much, if you aren't in legacy, then get your butt in. Tim gives you every opportunity to get in there, right? And so,
Well, I think you made a great, and I appreciate all the accolades
yeah,
here.
yeah.
That's means a lot, especially coming from you, who's plugged into our events and seen, the community that we've built, and the level of giving that happens in that
It's
community.
incredible. I mean, you're a great, and I'll say it again, like I'll give you the feedback you deserve that a lot of men don't do, but you are an incredible leader and you pour into the people that are part of your group. And that because I do the same thing for mine, but people don't tell me that, or they don't tell you that often enough. And I want every listener and viewer watching this, Tim is that guy. He will give you his shirt off his back, but so are the other people in his community.
Right.
And I
That's
can't
that's
say
who you
that about
attract,
all the
right? By
leaders.
being that giver.
That's right. You set the tone. And because of that, you walk into that room and everyone else will give you the damn shirt too. Right.
Yep.
So go ahead.
No, I've said it before. I was like, dude, if you want to judge me by my mastermind members, right? Go and talk to any single one of them and tell me that they're not an incredible person with incredible mindset, with incredible business acumen, with incredible values, right? And then you can judge me based on any one of them. I like open door, go talk to any one of them, and I'd be happy to be judged by those people because that's how much I value them, and they're absolute rock star human beings. And going back to what you originally said though, of how do you get through the tough times? How do you get through the valleys and back up to the peaks? The community, man. I thought you were going to say something along the lines of like taking action and just doing the activity and doing the action. But you're right. You're absolutely right, because you're almost at a standstill. You're almost frozen until you have that conversation or
That's
have
right.
that person breathe life back into you,
Yeah.
dude, and warm you back up and say, dude, you got this, pat you on the butt, man, and get you moving along. It comes from the community. It comes from having those people in your network and in your having your back and supporting you, even when you're not there, when you're not in the room, dude, saying good things about you and being able to be like, no, dude, he's got it. He's good to go, and he's going to get it done. He's got good values and blah blah blah, whatever that looks like, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it all comes from that community. If you've got the community, boom, here's the resource you need. Here's the connection that you need. Here's the action that I would take. Here's the thing that I wouldn't do if I were sitting in your shoes. Here's exactly how to structure this. Here's the conversation to have with your investor or with the contractor. Here's, like having those things, because when the walls are caving in, you don't think about any of this.
No.
You're not in a productive state of mind. You're only thinking about all the negative, horrible shit that's going to happen when the walls collapse, right? Versus, dude, all you got to do is like go like this, move the wall back, and having that conversation with somebody who's been through it and somebody who's got your back, who genuinely gives a shit about you, is like, dude, it makes all the difference in the world. It's everything.
I had a call yesterday, and someone was kind of giving me advice about a specific apartment I own. and he basically said triage, and I could look it up, but the last part of triage is treat for shock. Okay. And triage in like the medical world, triage, right? Stop the bleeding. I think the second
Mm.
part is treat the wound and then stop the shock or treat for shock. And that third one really resonated and you really just kind of highlighted on it. When you are getting punched in the face, right? Like Mike Tyson saying, you always have a plan until you get punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the shock kicks in. And when you're playing at a level that Tim and I are playing at, right? Like those punches are from Mike Tyson. They aren't from some
They're
kid on the
fucking
street.
hard hits, man. Yeah.
they're fucking hard hits.
Yeah.
And that amount of shock, they're like, oh man. And you freeze. You said it exactly right. Like literally physically, I'm like, and if you can't very quickly treat for that shock, you could be down on the mat forever. Like you might not get back up. You might quit. You might do a different industry. You might leave real estate behind. You might do what because no one was there for you. And so leaning into people, I'm a part of Boardroom Mastermind, Can't Closers Boardroom Mastermind. That room is 300 high players running at a high level in the apartment space, storage space, single family space. They're active, they're going. But man, the amount of love they share for one another when they get punched in the face, that is what needs to happen. That's what everyone needs. If you're a newer real estate investor, I'd encourage you to be a part of my community, REI Live. Go to reilive.co. Tim, I couldn't afford the M.
And by the way, just a side note, what is it? It's like less than $200 a month, and you're on calls every single day for multiple hours a day, helping not anyone else, not someone you hired. It's you on these phone calls every single day, coaching people how to make offers, how to underwrite deals, how to do all that stuff, which is unreal. I haven't seen that. Dude, my own. We have daily calls, which for my team, you probably want more specialized knowledge on.
That's right.
If you're buying big apartment buildings and you have a team, but especially for like someone who's getting started and trying to learn the skill set, which is a critical skill set, by the way. Like I got started wholesaling and I got started flipping and managing contract and those kinds of things, which, have everything else is compounded on. That's like the foundation of real estate investing. You got to understand how to source deals, how to raise money, and how to run tight operations. And the wholesaling and flipping side, man, is absolutely critical. So yeah, if anybody's newer, trying to like understand how to go out and source deals, especially in this market, Justin's group is rock star.
No, I appreciate it. And so it's www.reilive.co. I couldn't afford the M. The M was too expensive. So I kept it at .co. So reilive.co. But the reason why I talk about my group, and this is because Legacy is at a place where people are doing much larger apartments and scalings and PPMs, and REI Live's that transactional, breaking into the space, understanding how to analyze properties, how to raise money, how to negotiate a deal, how to lead gen to find them. But the same thing is to be said, that group for me on the newer side, for newer investors, like I'm that person for them. When they get punched in the face, which at that level, a realtor, keeping their earnest money deposit to them is being punched in the face, right?
Yeah.
But they need to realize it isn't ever as bad as you think it is. And simultaneously, it's never as good as you think it is either, right? That's why really the longer you're in the game, the more even keel you become, where you're never having these high highs or these low lows, because you realize the high highs are short-lived, right? You got that amazing deal, big pop, a lot of money, amazing apartment, right? You finish the syndication, whatever, back to work. Like that was fun. Awesome. Take your wife on a staycation for a night and enjoy the hell out of that and practice making more kids. And then you're going back to work because you just finalized your PPM and now you got to go use the money, right? Whatever. So I say that to just hope people understand this business isn't always X's and O's. It's a lot of that. But the vast majority of what you have to understand is the mindset and the determination and the fortitude to just keep going on that runway. Because to Tim's point, it's going to be up, it's going to be down, it's going to be round and round. And some of it's in our control and some of it's not. And you got to go through it either way.
Yeah, dude, I think that mental mindset foundation is the foundation of business. And I would think, for a lot of folks that, you have almost 200 people in your group, and What percentage of them would you say are full-time real estate investors versus like have a full-time job or something else, and they're trying to move into full-time real estate?
75% are part-time. They have
Yeah.
another job. They're doing this part-time until they can see the income, right? My job, similar to yours, but a little different on the newer side. My job is to create certainty in them that they realize this can happen. Holy crap. And
Yeah.
then build their confidence. So I have two roles. I build certainty that it can happen, and then I build confidence. And then once they have confidence, that's where you take them to the next level. That's where they quit their job. They're going all in. They're doing the
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah, man. I think it is a lot of your coaching. Let's just hitting on the mindset stuff. I got to believe a ton of it is just getting people out of this 9 to 5 mindset, getting them out of you're going to retire at 65 years old. Like, we can help you retire at 40 years old. We can help you
Yeah.
retire at 35 or at
Yeah.
48 or wherever you are in your journey, if you dedicate X number of years to it. I find that like, dude, my stuff is hard to sell because buying apartments is a long-term game. It's
That's
not a
right.
get rich quick. And so, it's a harder consulting type of a business because everybody wants quick money, quick cash, but it's much higher. Now, I wouldn't say higher quality, but like it's a more level-headed mindset than the new side of things, right? Where it's
Yep.
like I get people who come in and then they stay for a very long time in my mastermind because they understand it's a long-term wealth building game as opposed to get rich quick. What are some things that you do in order to get people money and get those wins right out of the gate? And what are like the fastest actions that somebody can take in order to have a win inside 30, 60, 90 days?
Yeah, so I'm not trying to be over the top on this, but guys, the reason I created REI Live is that one question. Is our coaching space, Tim, and you know this to be true. You pay a coach 10, 15, $20,000 so you can go learn wholesaling, right? So you can get into the space. And I was that coach for over a decade. I would charge 10 grand, 15 grand, $20,000. And then at the end of last year, I decided to change the game. I said I was tired of getting rich off of people and I wanted to get rich with people. So starting this year, this group, reilive.co, literally the reason why I run the calls is every single day, 5 days a week, 2 to 3 hours a day, I am calling realtors on the student's behalf. I am calling homeowners on the student's behalf. I am analyzing the deal for them in front of them on Zoom. I am making the offers. I'm constructing creative finance offers. I am selling the deal if it's a wholesale deal. We had 6 offers go out yesterday from our group. 2 of them got contracted by sellers yesterday, right? Now, these are brand newbies. They don't really know anything yet. They're totally insecure. They're unknowledgeable. They're naive, all that stuff. But because they're in my group and I'm doing the work with them, they're actually getting deals done. And then we split the deal 50-50, obviously, because I'm doing the vast majority of the work. So it's a 50-50 split. But I was tired of seeing people say they were willing to do it or cut a really big check to learn how to do it, but then they go nowhere. And it's because they go nowhere, not because the coach was bad. Trust me, most of the coaches, are giving you great information. They are giving you the
I agree
right
with that.
process. They are giving you the right strategy. They're giving what does work. The challenge we have as educators is whether the people are willing to use that information, right? Whether they're using the education they've paid for. So I flipped it. I said, don't worry about using it out of the gate. Let me create certainty in you and you watch me get the deal done. You're watching it. You're on the Zoom with me. You're analyzing. Like, you're literally, imagine if we had an office together and I sat down next to you every day, 5 days a week for 2 to 3 hours a day. And I said, all right, who are we calling? And I pick up the phone and I just work the leads right next to you. That is essentially what reilive.co does, because I want to build their confidence. Their confidence can get them into legacy because now they've quit their job, they're making money, the income's at a level, and now they're saying, what's next? How do I start to build my wealth? Because you and I both agree on one thing. None of us are in real estate to get rich. You can get rich doing crypto and Forex trading and stock market trading and a whole bunch of different shit. You can get rich. We're in real estate for is to get rich and wealthy. And it's not the same thing. I promise you that. See, let's celebrate. Being rich is not the equivalent
Did you
of
do that?
being wealthy.
I don't know where that came from.
Dude, there's some cool things that my stuff does. I don't know. I learned I don't know. I don't know how I'm a real estate investor, Tim. I can't figure this stuff
I
out.
love it.
Yeah.
Where's this coming from? Balloons
I
all
don't
over the
even know.
place.
Like this
Oh,
is
that's
something
awesome.
too. Yeah, there you go.
This episode of the Legacy Podcast is brought to you by the Legacy Boardroom Mastermind. So our goal is to give as much free information away as humanly possible through all of our social media platforms and try to help people with their businesses, help people with their lives. We also have something for people who want more one-on-one attention, which is Legacy Boardroom. Legacy Boardroom is a board of directors for your business. If you are doing up to about $10 million a year in gross revenue, you're making some money, you got some good things happening, but maybe you can't afford a C-suite of executives, of a chief marketing officer, a chief operating officer, a chief investment officer, a chief human resources officer, and you need access to these fractional C-suite executives. That's what this was built for, at a fraction of the price of what you could find anywhere else in the marketplace. So it's my actual team who have built multiple 7 and 8 and 9-figure businesses and real estate portfolios that is available every single day of the week on these daily boardroom calls. So any questions that you have, you can hop on, ask questions about operations to my COO, ask questions about acquisitions to my CMO, ask questions about raising private money to my chief investment officer, or team building to my chief HR officer. So they're available for you 5 days a week. Any questions that you have, any hurdles that you're facing, anything that you need, these guys are available to help you break through any sort of barriers and take your business to the next level so that way you can build a business that is designed to feed your life and your lifestyle. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more, check out legacyboardroom.com.
First I tell people, go make a lot of money. Go get rich. That's what you should do. Go put a lot of money in your pocket, because if you have money, you can take more vacations with your family, spend more time with your kids, build the life, right? But don't go too long with only focusing on that, right? Go start to accumulate wealth. Biggest mistake I made is I didn't buy rentals soon enough, right? I've done this business 18 years. I believe it was so 2019, I started buying rentals, right? So 6 years ago. So 12 years, I was strictly transactional, fix and flipping and wholesaling, strictly.
Think about how much, if you would have bought those properties and you held them for 12 years, dude, that pays down a substantial chunk of the mortgage. And
even about one a home,
rents grow at
one
just
home a year.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
So think about all the benefits of holding. And listen, holding's another business, right? Transactional's nice because, dude, you're out of it. You take a big chunk of cash, move on to the next one. But if you're doing this business, you might as well hold some stuff too, because if you're 100%. Operating transactionally, one, you got active income, a lot of active income, and you need depreciation from buying and holding things. And you get that from your rentals, which you can cost seg them, you can depreciate them, and it offsets a sizable chunk of your active real estate income if you're a full-time real estate professional. So that's number one. Number two, even if you're flipping, if you hold it for a year, or like we used to flip turnkey rentals, right? And that's how I got into buying multifamily and then getting into apartments and everything else is we would buy it, we'd flip it, we'd rent it out. If you hold it for 12 months at a day, now it reclassifies the income to long-term capital gains instead of short-term capital gains, which is earned income tax bracket, right? So not only are you able to offset earned income with depreciation, but you can also reclassify your tax liability into long-term capital gains, which if you're in the highest tax bracket, cuts it in half.
That's right.
Then let's assume you held it for 12 years, just, a property or whatever. If the rents only increased by 2.5%, 3% and kept up, dude, over the course of 12 years, you're talking about a 40 to 50% rental increase as it compounds. So instead of making $1,000 a month in rent, you're now making $1,500 a month in rent, but your mortgage stays the same. Your expenses, even if they bump up 1 or 2% per year, right? There's this spread that you've eventually achieved 10, 12 years down the road, and you've paid down your principal balance by about a third, let's call it. So 25, 30%, let's call it. So it's like, dude, if you just, it goes back to that, just get started, just buy real estate. Don't wait to buy real estate and then wait, and just buy good properties in good areas. You've learned some lessons over the past 12 months, 18 months. Oh yeah,
baby. Yeah.
What are some of the, because, and this is, I think, really important for people to understand is, dude, we feel like once we've gotten to a point, there's a law in psychology called the end of history illusion. And it means like, dude, think about all the things I've learned over the past 18 years that you've been in this business. But we think we have it figured out today. We discount how much more we're going to learn over the next 18 years. And because nobody wants to admit that they don't have it figured out in this point in time right now. And what's I think really critical is like, you've learned some major lessons, maybe some of the biggest lessons you've ever learned in business in the past 10, 12, 18 months. And
100%.
so have I in the past 24 months. And,
Yeah.
And it just kind of like humbles you quite a bit of,
Yeah.
man, I didn't have it all figured out. And the longer I'm in this game, now I realize there's more and more stuff that I need to learn. And there's less and less that I actually know in the big grand scheme of things. So talk a little bit about some of the lessons learned over the past 12 months in your business that, you know, somebody who is several years in and they've pivoted into maybe buying and holding some things. What are some things that you wish you would have done differently, or you wish you would have known earlier, that you would give yourself advice on 24 months ago?
Yeah. You and I talked about it is just because you can doesn't mean you should. Okay. There's a lot of people, myself and you included, right? Just because we can doesn't always mean we should. Just because we can buy an apartment in a state, in a city that we've never been to, and the numbers look good and we have the money to do it, doesn't mean we should buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a big learning lesson for me. Is I've done very well in business over the years, and just like I said, there's ups and downs, but just because I can go raise a lot of money, just because the numbers look good on an apartment, just because doesn't mean I should just go buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the first, and I'll butcher this, but what is the rule of becoming an expert? The rule of 10,000, is that right?
10,000 hours. Yep.
10,000 hours, right? Like if you're going down, so the bigger two financial mistakes I've made, one of them being in 2024, one of them being in 2016, I did a 79 unit development project. Just because I could doesn't mean I should have. And the reason being is I was able to raise a lot of capital to do this development, but I got ahead of my skis because I was not a developer. I didn't know everything that went into it, right? And so then I had a contractor take advantage of me back in 2000. What did I say? No, it wasn't 16. Maybe it was 15. And then I had a contractor take advantage of me, which torched the whole development deal because it was my capital that we were debt servicing. But because the contractor took advantage of me, we couldn't make sales, etc. So we couldn't keep financing the debt. Well, shocker. I guess I didn't learn my lesson. Different lesson, but similar lesson. 2024, I had a contractor take advantage of me again. Now this one, it's always my fault, but this one very specifically, the second learning lesson isn't necessarily don't trust contractors. Although it is becoming harder and harder. But patience. So the first lesson is just because you can doesn't mean you should. The second one is have some patience. The reason why I say that specific to my learning lesson in 2024 is if I would have been more patient with the asset, with finding 4 or 5 different contractors, and I would have gone through the real bids each time, I would have likely not bought the assets that I bought because the contractor I did choose fraudulently gave me a lower bid so he could get the job, knowing damn well it was going to be a much larger number.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've worked with that contractor for years. He's done good by me, so I had an inherent trust, okay? My general manager went and walked the property with him. I mean, we kind of did what coaches would coach you to. We did to the T. Lie down and bid, walk the property with the contractor.
Did you get multiple bids though, or no?
No. There's where you went wrong. There's where I went wrong, right? Is because I had the trust of that contract. I trusted him. So that, which is the third part, but the patience is because if I had more patience and didn't have to make a decision and didn't have ego play into it, wow, I got the money. Let's go buy the damn thing, right? And I just kind of whip it like flippantly, like, let's just buy it. I got the money. We're working with the contractor. This is going to be a good deal. Let's go. The third part will be trust. if I trust but verify, then I would have gotten 3 or 4 other contractors to run a bid. But I didn't. I just trusted him. I didn't verify. And I trusted his number because he walked the properties with my general manager in a traditional, like, process driven spreadsheet. Here's the light items. Here's what's needed. Here are the costs. Here's the budget, like in a traditional manner. But because I didn't, or I should say, because I just trusted that and didn't verify, given 2, 3, 4 other bids, I got left with the bag, right? And so the 3 things to answer your question directly is just because you can doesn't always mean you should, right? Number 2, have some patience, right? Do it the right way. Don't just get it done. Now I'm a ready, fire, aim kind of guy, Tim, right? Like I just go. But when you're dealing with a lot of money, with you're dealing with bigger decisions, you genuinely should slow down and do it right, right? Have some patience to do it the right way. And there's a lot of people that you should do that. They'll make the argument you should do it that way all the time. Slow down, do it right. I don't know if I always agree with it, right? Like
Yeah.
making an offer on a $200,000 home, like you don't need to be perfect, right? You're just
Yeah,
making an
especially
offer.
if there's out clauses and some of that stuff, right? Like there's
Yeah,
definitely ways to mitigate risk where you can take action and then figure things out after the
that's
fact.
that's
Um,
right.
I think what I have found is a lot of similar experiences and stuff. Um, unfortunately, but what I found is
Unfortunate.
when you go out and you get multiple bids, and you get 3 or 4, and it's more work, and it's more time, and it's more headaches, and it's more conversations, and it slows things down. Not always a bad thing when you're talking about a 10, 20, $30 million asset, though.
Totally.
And when you do slow things down and 3 bids are way up here and 1 bid's down here, you're like, oh, well, maybe there's something wrong with this bid,
Mhm.
right? Like, maybe there's something that we should look into a little bit further and try to compare apples to apples
That's
instead
right.
of just going with the lowest one, thinking we can get the job done. Because inevitably, dude, it always ends up being the same cost. And not only is it the same cost, but you underraised, which makes you look like an idiot when you have to go and raise more capital, makes you
That's
look
right.
like an idiot to your lender, your construction lender, takes more work, reduces your equity further because it
Giving away
increases
everything
the
to get raised.
timeline of the project. And that cost is more expensive than just paying to get the job done on time. I'd
That's right.
much rather today pay a premium and have a clause or something in the contract that says not to exceed bid. Here's the price point, and we're guaranteed to have it done inside 12 months. And if it goes over 12 months, you reduce the bid by 5% per month.
Mm,
It comes out of the contractor's profit or whatever. Or if you beat the 12 months, dude, I'll give you a bonus of 5% per month that you have it done, because I can then lease the units out. I can generate more revenue. I can refinance into cheaper debt out of the construction loan. And then I have just peace of mind of being able to tell the investors that we're able to cycle their money and give them paid back partially or wholly, and then roll their funds into the next deal. There's
hmm
a there's a infinite amount of return on investment, return on time, return on energy by getting the project done sooner rather than letting it delay. And
Yep.
dude, it's not good for morale of you. It's not good for morale of the investors. It's not good for morale of your team whenever projects drag out. And so going with someone who's qualified, verified, is willing to put their nuts on the line of a contract of saying, hey, I will get this thing done. And if I don't, I'll eat whatever the additional costs are. Like, show me that you're that confident. And if you find a contractor that's willing to do that, that could be something that you're going to have to pay a premium up front, because they're going to need free flow of money and, be able to put all the guys on site and all that stuff. But it's like, it is infinitely worth it if you're able to find that contractor who can actually get that side of things done.
We made a joke earlier before we went live. You wear hats and you think that's why you're bald. I know why I'm bald. Contractors. Contractors are why I'm bald. That's 100% it.
Here's what I found though with contractors is there's 2 things, right? You got to be able to swing the hammer, do the work, and run a business. And my problem was, especially in the single family world when I was doing that, is I found the contractors who were really good at swinging hammers and they could manage a couple of people and they got jobs done on a small basis because that's what they could manage and that's what the level that they grew to personally and what they could succeed at. But they never grew beyond that personally, professionally, mentally. But they met me and I had big ambitions and I had big ambitions for them. And I didn't want to go out and find other contractors. So I gave them all the work. And I created the implosion of their business because they couldn't keep up with all the work that I was giving them.
100%.
And then I'm like, damn, they didn't do their job. I gave them too much work. I shouldn't have relied on them that much, knowing that they haven't grown professionally to that point where they can manage a big team and have a bigger organization than what they personally and professionally grew to.
I think you said something everyone watching this or listening to this needs to rewind in here. I said again, what I'm saying is it's not the contractor's fault. It's my fault. It's Tim's fault. It's never the contractor. They are the end result of you not performing at your highest level. And you need to take ownership of that, right? Just like I have to. I have to realize, yes, this contractor fucked me. Okay. But to some extent, I just allowed it, right? I didn't actually trust and verify. I didn't go get 3 more bids. I didn't do what I needed to do as the CEO and the owner of the company to make sure I don't get fucked, right? So ultimately, I can point the finger at him all day. And to some extent, he did it with malicious intent. So I do point the finger because he also knowingly gave me that bid. But at the end of the day, I should never be in the scenario because I should have done it the right way. I should have had more patience. I should have trusted but verified, right? And I think everyone needs to hear this. If your family life is not going very good, your wife is always mad at you, your kids don't want to hang out with you, if your business is falling apart, if you have to, if your fitness is shit, if you're overweight and you can't walk upstairs without huffing and puffing, like this is a you thing. Look in the mirror because it is 100% controllable by one person, you. And whatever that is, family life, business, fitness, that person needs to die to recreate the person that does have a 6-pack, to recreate the best husband, to recreate the best father, to recreate the best CEO and business person. That person has to die who isn't, and you need to shed that person so you can create yourself. And so I just want everyone to have ultimate accountability for it. My challenges in business, in the bigger ones like I did in 2024, it is no one else's fault. It is 100% my fault because I didn't do it the way it should have been done.
Dude, I think that extreme ownership is the difference maker, right? That is it the number one? Is it? I think when
I think it's number one. I think
it could be, right?
Yeah,
I think
I do.
When you realize you are where you are in life because of the decisions that you made, how you respond, not what happened to you, but how you responded to what happened to you, the conversations you had, the books you read or didn't read, the seminars you attended or didn't attend, who you follow on social media or don't, right? Who you hang out with or who you don't. All of those things put together is what makes you who you are and what has determined where you are today in this time and moment in life. And when you realize it all comes down to me, it all comes down to you, of the decisions that you've made, conversations you've had, the questions you asked or didn't ask, right? The networking you've done, the times you went to the gym, didn't go, like what you decided to order on the menu, like all those things are things that are within your control. And even the shitty stuff that happens to us, dude, we can't control. Shitty stuff happens to everybody, right? You think bad things don't happen to Elon Musk? You think bad things don't happen to Jeff Bezos? You think bad things don't happen to all these uber successful business people or even uber successful life type coaches, Tony Robbins and stuff? Dude, bad stuff happens to all of them. The difference is not what happens to us. It's how we respond to what happens to us. And that now takes you from victim mentality to victor mentality of actually controlling the outcome of your life. And dude, it's the cornerstone of all this stuff. And so
Totally.
that is a great place to start and a great place to end and bring this to full circle. So I really appreciate all the conversations. Every single time we talk, we're like, we could just keep talking for 8 hours. Like we could do many days of podcasts, and we need to. I'm gonna jump on your podcast at some point in the near future here, and I got to have you back.
Let's make that happen sooner than later. And then we really should be intentional. We talk about it all the time, and you invite me to every single event. And like we should really be intentional to get people into, whether it's your cabin or your island, whether it's a cabin, and just get people in the right room, right? Because you and I together can really make massive impact. You are already doing it in your own world. I'm already doing it in my own world. With some collaboration, I think we can move mountains together.
I love it, bro. Dude, where can people find you, Justin?
Easiest place is just go to Instagram, the Justin Colby. And what I would tell you is let me know you saw me or heard me here on the episode, right? And it's me. There's no bots. I'm not going to put you into some funnel. It's literally just me replying to you. So ask me questions. Let me know what your thoughts are about real estate or challenges you're having, however I can help you guys. And take me up on this. It's funny. I say this on every episode of every podcast I've ever been on, and rarely do people hit me up. Do it. I'm genuinely here to help you.
It's like, dude, I bet your inbox is flooded. It's actually not as flooded as you might think, right? Like totally. I do get messages, but not genuine messages from people just saying, hey, can you point me in the right direction? Hey, can you offer a resource? Hey, what would you do in this situation? Dude, and I offer it up all the time, and I answer my own messages too. And it just doesn't happen nearly as often. I don't know if there's like this I don't know, fear or like intimidation aspect or something like that. Dude, Justin's a real guy, just like I'm a real person. Like we all started somewhere. It's just we talk about it more than anybody else on social media, and so now we're looked at as people who can be intimidating, but I promise you we're not. We're here to help. And that's why we give as much value as we do, is because we were in those shoes. We were on that path, and it was so friggin' lonely early on. And I vividly remember it. And I'm like, there's got to be somebody who can help me. How does this happen? And how do I get to the next level? How do I build a team? How do I buy my first apartment? And like, it boggled my mind, and there was never anybody that I could reach out to who would actually respond. And I think that's probably why we're so passionate about it, dude. So, man, proud of you. And I know you've been going through some stuff on a couple projects that you took down that you wish you didn't take down. But I'm telling you, man, it's better to learn it on a $1 million, $2 million project than on a $10 or $20 million project. And it won't be the end of the lessons learned, but it'll also make you stronger and put you in a better position to build even more wealth and make a bigger impact in the future, man. So proud of you, proud of you keeping your head up during that process, and proud of all the impact that you're making out there.
Right on, brother. I appreciate having me on, and let's go make some more impact together.
Justin Colby.
Let's go.
Hey, well, thank you for being here. Hopefully you got a ton of great value out of this episode. We try to give as much free value as possible across all of our social media platforms. So please make sure that you're connected with us. We are at Legacy Wealth on YouTube. We are at Tim Bratz on all other social media platforms. And we're available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. The best way that you can support this podcast is by just subscribing to our YouTube channel, by liking the video, by commenting on it, and by sharing it with anyone else who might get some great value out of it. So thank you again for being here. We'll see you next Sunday on the Legacy Podcast.